Now, this is an update on my Independence Day video. Once again, I'm not going to tell you the company that I worked for because all of corporate America is doing this, happening all over the country. Nobody will talk to me but the Vice President of Human Resources. He told me that they talked to somebody that told them something about me that gave them a cause to fire me and that they could defend it in court. He did not give me the circumstances or tell me who this was. Now, don't you have to tell me all of this anyway in case I do sue you? I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know exactly what's going on here. Maybe somebody else can help me out. And also, here's the problem. It's been 2-3 days. I don't remember. I have racked my brains to try to find something that they could fire me for. And I can think of only one thing that they could fire me for as a pretext. But it wouldn't have been a problem if that African-American woman had not been harassing me. Also, I can't think of anything they might have found that wasn't either the fruit of a poison tree, the result of this investigation, or a fruit shaken from the tree by her or some of her friends, because she gets around the plant that way. As far as I can tell, I'd be happy to admit it if I were wrong, although I can't promise you I'd give you the details. If I had not been racially harassed, I would still have this job. Furthermore, word is spreading around the plant like wildfire that I'm a racist. Now, why would people be saying this if our confrontation weren't racially tinged? I knew she was making this about race. That's why I tried to tap the whole thing down. Now, the mob that ran me out of the fab with a pitchfork, it seems to me, is still coming at me. So, I think the company just threw me under the bus to pacify them. So it looks to me, if that's true, that we've moved beyond personnel issues and we've moved into defamation of character. I have no idea if this assessment will stand up to further scrutiny. I'll keep you informed. I will further add, or reiterate, as I said in the previous video, this company enabled this by going neurotic on the Chinese virus and coming down firmly on the side of Black Lives Matter in this charged political environment. They know how bad it is. They had to take the news off the TVs in the break rooms in 2016 because people were getting in fights. The leftists have made getting annoyed about the shutdown complaints into a white thing. They use it to stir up animus against us, to stigmatize us, to make it okay to assault us, indeed make it a moral obligation to assault us. My company threw their white employees under the bus when they came down on the side of Black Lives Matter. The instant I saw that email from the CEO, I knew that was going to be a problem. I don't think she would have done this otherwise. I repeat from my previous video, people going to work, people going to the grocery store, people going to the restaurants, we were doing fine. Death rates were going down. But now the virus is taking off. Yesterday, 98 people died. That's a record for a day. By far, it shattered the previous record. Today, it's 105. The day before yesterday, it was 60. The day before that, 15. We tended to peak in the mid-50s. Now, as I said, we opened the bars on Memorial Day. So that destabilized the situation. But question, what happened? Is there anything that happened exactly 6 weeks ago that might have made everything here worse? The exact time all the people who died the past few days would have caught the virus? Is there anything that could have made things worse? Can you guess? The George Floyd protests, which my company and virtually every company in America, except maybe My Pillow, was completely okay with. A miscalculation like Governor Abbott made. That happens. He's a man. He manned up. He took the hit. But if you're the type who might accuse me of not taking this seriously, let me ask you a question. How exactly am I supposed to factor in the behavior of politicians who seem determined to kill a bunch of old people and a bunch of black folks? Because that's what it looks like to me. That's what I would do if I were passive-aggressively trying to murder a bunch of people, give myself some plausible deniability. Now, it must be said, I've heard the Hispanic border counties are getting pretty hard hit. Not sure if that has anything to do with Black Lives Matter. Not sure how big a fraction it is of these latest numbers. We'll probably have a full story on this, or a good story on this time next year. So let's look at some numbers. In the pink, in the center, Texas mortality rate, about a third of the WHO mortality rate. Throughout the course of the plague, mortality rates went up quite a bit, then dropped back down to the original levels. It probably took out the most vulnerable among us early. From here on out, it's a slow grind, trench warfare. Non-ICU beds seem okay. ICU beds are filling up. Cases per day are trying to falter, it seems. Deaths are spiking. Cases are still rising. This graph confirms, the top one, what I said in my last video. Your chances of dying if you get the virus are about 1 in 1,000. Now the graph underneath is more important. Log graphs, logarithmic graphs, tell us if things are getting worse faster. Compare it to the non-logarithmic graph on top, the scary one. You see how one is steep where the other isn't and vice versa? The top graph would freak me out if I didn't know how the bottom graph worked. So let's walk through that bottom graph. The red line on bottom shows the number of deaths are increasing, obviously, but the rate of increase is declining. Although the rate of that decline is itself declining. It's confusing, but that means things are kind of sort of getting worse. Compare it to the far left for all of these numbers. See how steep those lines are? That's when things are starting to take off. If it starts to look like that again, it's time to run for the hills. Now, if you look at total cases, the yellow, you see the lines a little steeper than deaths, the red. So it looks like infections are outpacing deaths, which indicates to me we're closing in on pack immunity, which would certainly be true if that trend continues. And I say pack like in coyote pack. I'm not in a herd. I'm not a cow. So far, the way things are looking, knowing what I know now, I'm going to go ahead and file for unemployment tomorrow. If you fired me with cause, you fired me with cause, but I don't think you did. And I will amend my complaint with the EEOC with the new information. Now, be careful out there. I did upload a video April 10th, Help Your Brain and Body Make War on Corona. I'll link it below. I take this virus very seriously. I always did. It takes hours to do research on videos like that, and hours to put them together. I mean, this one you can throw together, but typically, every minute you see in a video, I put an hour of work in it. So, God bless.